For 3 years in a row, I've managed to create 31 artworks in the month of October, and I've loved it every single time. But this year, I gave up. I didn't even try. I could say that I didn't have the time, I didn't have the inspiration. That's partly true, but the whole truth is that I felt completely incapable of doing it. My mind was blank, no thoughts, no vibes, no spooky season. And before the official Inktober prompt list even came out, I knew I wasn't going to look at it because I was that certain that I wouldn't be able to come up with anything good. When I told my sister that I wasn't doing Inktober this year, she was very surprised. It's not like me. So how can I fix this? I know that what used to get me excited about making art every day in October was the spooky season of it. I needed a little bit more help this time. I've decided I'm going to copy somebody else's work. Now, because Instagram is an endless pit of comparison where I always fall short, I will look elsewhere this time. My most recent project was to turn existing works into stained glass patterns, so I thought, hey, I might as well do that again. I can't really mess it up since I'm just tracing works that already exist, so that should be safe enough, right? That was just one problem. That's really boring. I repeat, the concept is that I'm just tracing masterpieces and I'm making them simpler. Who wants to see that? Not me, and I'm the one doing it, so that's a little bit of a problem. I honestly don't know how I convinced myself that copying artworks picked at random would somehow be inspiring or help me find my artistic voice again. While I enjoy looking at some of these, I don't really feel anything, you know? This isn't speaking to me. So I had to stop trying to pump things out quite so fast, and instead I actually took a moment to slow down. And this is where it finally clicked. I was captivated by these paintings. There was something about them, their darkness, their familiarity, the story they were telling. These paintings are part of a series done by Francisco Goya in 1798. He painted them as a protest against the horrible politics of the time. The Spanish Inquisition was persecuting anyone who wasn't Catholic enough in their eyes. It's nothing like the cute witchy art we see today because it's about actual real-world darkness. I scrapped all of my previous work and instead I started breaking down the paintings that I liked, the Goya paintings, into their individual elements. If I were to create something inspired by them, what would I be looking to include? In the spell, we have a few classic witchcraft symbols. There are bones, owls, a grimoire, a poppet. In Witch's Flight, there are two really interesting symbols, the pointy hats and this guy's hand gesture at the bottom. The pointy hats are actually penitential corozas, which are essentially shaming garments that the heretics were made to wear so that they would stand out and be isolated from the quote-unquote good Christians. Yeah, like I said, it's really bleak. And this hand gesture is actually called the fig, and it's apparently a milder ancestor to the middle finger, and you would do it to ward off the evil eye. And then finally, in Witch's Sabbath, we have bats. Obviously, there's Baphomet with the horns, and then the moon. Now, of course, I was going to make a stained glass pattern still. And yeah, I know I've just said that it didn't work with the last project. I believe I called it boring. Yeah, but this time is different, because this time it's not going to be a one-for-one copy. No. I will use my powers for good and create something brand new, something of my own. I decided to use the strongest image in these paintings, or the strongest symbol, the coroza. It carries a horrible history, yes, but it's also close enough to the classic witch's pointy hat, so that gives me my main character. She will be the witch in my story. Then I decided to have her do the fig with her arms crossed. She is blocking the evil eye coming from the persecutors. Poppet and the bone are hanging, literally framing her, revealing her true nature as a witch. Once the sketch was complete, I decided I wanted to make it look good. If you saw my last video, you'll know that sketching patterns is really just one step in the making of stained glass, and it's not the most rewarding one if you can't go all the way to the end of the process where your awesome glass looks really awesome because it's glass. And no, I still don't have access to my glass tools, I don't want to talk about it. But I thought, what if I just took real stained glass images and used those in my digital sketch instead of using the regular color fill, which doesn't look very good. So I went on the stained glass manufacturer Wismac's website and I used their glass pictures in my sketch. I hope that's okay, Wismac. I'm not selling this, so I hope it's okay. And this is the final piece that I made for spooky season, inspired by Goya. That was not an easy ride. But looking back, my art block wasn't that complicated to solve. I just had to approach art making a little differently. Instead of looking at prompts and hoping that something would magically come to me, I had to really search for inspiration and then actually take the time to take it in, let it sink in, and really think things through. So thank you for joining me on this a little bit of a crazy ride. This video came out a little later than planned since I moved from Sweden to France. It was a whole thing. Now I'm here. Anyway, if you also have art block at the moment, obviously finding sources of inspiration is not that hard since every artist seems to be on Instagram, but using those sources of inspiration productively to help you actually create stuff and not just scroll through hundreds of people who are more talented than you, that's a lot harder to do. Sometimes I find it's better to look at other creative fields, so there's less of a direct comparison. If you like fantasy and sci-fi, then I have this video where I break down how to use Ashnikko's new album as a source of inspiration, whatever creative field you like to work with. My name is Marianne, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel to join the studio. Bye!